and Professor Yusra Mouzughi. Professor Yusra, hi there, Vice Chancellor of Muscat University. Sultan Al-Qadoumi, the Vice President General Manager of Khawarizmi University Technical College in Jordan. Professor Faisal Mohammed, Director General Authority for Research, Science and Technology, Libya. And this will be chaired by Scott Smith, the Vice President for Matific. I don't know if Professor Issa Ansari is with us yet, but we're going to start off. So we'll get straight into the action now with Professor Omar Al-Jarrah, who's the Vice President of the Arab Open University. Professor Al-Jarrah is going to make opening comments on critical thinking in education and scientific research. And then we're going to move on to the Young Innovators panel, Young Innovators session. You'll see there's a natural segue from this panel of the transformation through critical thinking to the Young Innovators special session. And Omar, Professor Omar, I think we'll crack on with your opening presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Before I start my presentation, I would like to thank Arab Brains for the invitation, and I would like to thank the organizers and the hosts for the whole organization and for the hospitality. My name is Omar Al-Jarrah. I am the Vice President for Arab Open University, headquartered in Kuwait. We have 9 branches operating in 9 countries. Our mission basically is to widen access to higher education. We embrace blended learning in our delivery. We live in a complex world overrun with information. The one skill above all skills that is needed for the next generation and for the 4th industrial evolution is the capacity to engage in critical thinking. The ability to think freely, independently, reflexively, rationally, the ability to connect the dots together, the ability to have all the logical connections between the idea, understand them, and connect them together. Critical thinking is not new. It has been around since the days of Socrates, and Albert Einstein said that the education is not the learning of facts, but it is the training of minds. The development of the general ability for independent thinking and judgment should be always a place for the most, not the acquisition of special knowledge. So there is a call here for independent learning. Now, we are dealing with a digital generation, or what's so-called Generation Z, a generation that basically was born in the digital era, in the information age, spend most of their time online in the cyberspace, exposed to misinformation and fake news. And in a recent study by the EU, it was found that 8 out of 10 middle school students cannot distinguish fake news from real news. Now, this notion of fake news or misinformation can threaten the social, cohesion, the national security. It can be utilized or leveraged by many adversaries for political gains, for monetary gains, or even to shape public opinion. And we have noticed this during the what's so-called Arab Spring. We noticed this also, and we all heard in the news about the possible intervention of the Russian in the presidential election in the States. So how to help or the next generation to be aware and to help them to recognize fake news from real news. This critical thinking and media literacy skills was basically among the top that was adopted by the EU to transform education. Basically, we want to make our societies, our democracy more resilient by training the young generation to understand and to recognize fake news. Now, a part of the capability to analyze news or information, we also cannot advance in scientific research, or we cannot advance in innovation without adopting critical thinking skills. Now, this study was done in 2018, 2017 by Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Knowledge Foundation. We can see that the Arab region is not doing very well in terms of innovation, research, and patents. We are lagging behind other nations when we compare ourselves to similar nations with the same GDP per capita. Now, if we focus more on the KPIs, which is the research productivity in the Arab countries, we can see, according to Scopus, although we have, some of our countries have made good advancement, however, we still are running behind. We still have to do many things without adopting this problem-solving, creativity, and critical thinking skills. We cannot advance in research and innovation. Now, in another study by Times Higher Education for young university and the young university ranking, it was found that basically universities of science and technology or specialized university are basically outperforming their comprehensive counterpart in terms of research productivity and innovation. So, what are the main challenges that are facing universities in research, and how can critical thinking be helping in this regard? Apart of the lack or inadequate funding, we have also to focus on the academic freedom, to motivate the academic freedom. There's inadequacy of the leverage of information technology, either in education or in management. Actually, I'm always saying that the digital gap between our students and students in the Western country is smaller when we compare this to the digital gap between our universities and their international counterpart. We still have to do many things in this area. We need to change the way we teach and deliver, to adopt and embrace critical problem-solving skills and creativity skills that are needed for the 21st century. Also, there is a disconnection between industry and academia. Now, if we look at the transformation in higher education, we can see that the critical thinking and the problem solving is in the heart of the transformation drivers that are transforming higher education. And even if we look at other drivers, we can see that still critical thinking has some touches on all of them. If we talk about the intellectual curiosity, because this is a major problem in this part of the world as well as in other countries, because we are now facing with the fact that more and more students are seeking degrees rather than seeking knowledge. How to instill the value of curiosity, intellectual curiosity in our students and even our faculty, because also our faculty are doing research for the purpose of a promotion or incentives. There is no intellectual curiosity. Now, another problem is the skill gap. We are basically facing a skill gap between the need of the labor market and the quality of the graduate. In a recent study by McKinsey, where they studied the needed skills for the future, we can see that critical thinking sits in the heart of important and growing skills. So we are expecting this to get more and more focus in the very near future. So how we can close the gap between the industry and academia? One possible solution basically is to build like industrial or technology parks and to build incubators where we can build an ecosystem, transferring students from students to entrepreneurs to even startups, where we need the universities to attract industrial investment and venture capital. And this area of future collaboration between industry and academia basically is very important. And also, without having critical thinkers, there will be the gap between the industry and the academia will be widening. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Al-Jarrah, for your opening comments and setting the stage for what will be an interesting discussion amongst our distinguished panelists. We have much to discuss, so we'll get started. Professor Yusra, I'll start with you. How would you assess the current state of regional scientific cooperation among the MENA countries, and what are the important areas that need the most improvement in cooperation?
I'll say a few words in Arabic first, if you don't mind. بداية أهنئ الوزارة والقائمين على تنظيم الفعالية. تنظيم جدا رائع، اختيار الضيوف على مستوى عالي، حوار فعلا يعني مثري، فأبدعتم، فأشكركم على الفعالية. I'll turn back to English now to answer your question. I think it's a multi-layered and multifaceted phenomenon in terms of the types of collaborations and the depth of collaboration that we're seeking. There are many opportunities, in my view, to strengthen those collaborations. There is a lot of, there are many partnerships and collaborations taking place in the MENA region widely, but I think there are opportunities to build on those. So at the moment, we have very ambitious, commendable aspirations, but I think translating that into a reality is a little bit lacking, if you like. So I'll give you one example, and you know, there are many international partnerships here in the Gulf region and in the MENA region more widely. So we have, including Muscat University, we have partnerships with UK universities, we have across the region partnerships with American universities, New Zealand, Australia, France, whatever. And a lot of those partnerships tend to be focused on delivery of programs. And I think we can go a step further by incorporating research as an embedded part of the partnership rather than as an add-on. It needs to be embedded in the contract, in the agreement, in the setup, so that it's actually building on something that is coherent. So that would allow you to develop your academic staff. It would allow that research, those research outcomes to feed back into teaching and be relevant to what the challenges are for the region. So I think that's very important, and I would completely agree with our keynote for this session about the importance of really empowering those academics to drive research forward and how it adds to critical thinking.
Great. I have a question for Dr. Al-Adawi, which will probably build upon that. According to the latest release of the global ranking body U-Multi-Rank, your institution claimed its position as the among the top 25 performing universities on the indicator of international joint publications. Congratulations. It's worth mentioning at least 75% of your publications were in collaboration with co-authors based internationally. And so how does your institution promote joint scientific research between your students and the international universities?
في جامعة بيروت BAU, we facilitate all needs to promote research, as research one of our main strategic issues for the strategy 2020. We encourage young researchers to publish in reputable journals, and we encourage our staff to have links with universities, whether in Europe or the United States, and we already have a lot of links with UK universities, Italy, Johns Hopkins, where they participate our staff with certain projects. And besides that, we introduced 4 new journals which give opportunities for our staff and other academic staff, and all these journals are severe, included in severe. We recently established a health and well-being journal, society, culture, and human behavior, another journal, science and technology, and the fourth, creative sustainable development, which the four of them are included in severe. Already you had another old journals, architecture planning journal, and legal studies. This gave a good opportunity for collaboration between our staff and international universities as well. And we believe at Beirut University in multidisciplinary research. Last year, we organized international conference concerning health and well-being. Participants from 24 countries attended, and the multidisciplinary of the research really was fascinating, because in the fourth industrial revolution, there is nothing called somebody is doing research on his own. It is multidisciplinary from different disciplines and different programs. So we always try to push the multidisciplinary and cooperation with other institutions abroad. And in the meantime, we have good links with, and we hold a lot of partnership and grant holder with Tempest before, and Erasmus Mundus. We are the most university in Lebanon. We have partnership in these programs. And I would like to raise something which I believe that we need at the MENA region to establish something similar to Erasmus Plus. We always join the Erasmus Plus with the European project. Why the MENA region doesn't establish something like that, which create more opportunities for our researchers to base research on real problems facing the MENA region as well. And about our ranking in collaboration with international universities, we joined a year ago a cluster which initiated by International Association of Universities concerning the SDGs, Social Development Goals, and we are responsible for goal number 9, innovation, industry, and infrastructure. And we are promoting this goal among satellite universities in the MENA region. And as well, we always meet with other universities. That we have 16 partners in different countries. This gives us opportunity for more collaboration with international universities and research topics.
Right, fantastic. And staying on your topic of what you're talking about, creating more opportunities for research, I have a question for Professor Mohammed. Given the challenging conditions in Libya, how are you able to create an environment where scientific research that tackles the current challenges and builds a new generation of confident Libyan researchers?
البداية بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أود أن أشكر مسقط والسلطنة على كرم الضيافة وحلاوة الاستقبال قيادة وحكومة وشعبا وعلى واللجنة المنظمة على تنظيم هذا المحفل الكبير. بالنسبة لهيئة البحث العلمي في ليبيا تحاول أن تبني قاعدة بحثية للشباب من خلال بعض النشاطات البسيطة مثل مسابقة ليبيا للابتكار التي تهتم بالطلبة الماجستير والبكالوريوس، وقمنا في أكثر من خلال السنوات السابقة بإقامتها خلال من سنة 2014 إلى سنة 2018، وكذلك تشجيع الباحثين الصغار من خلال تشجيع المبتكرين والمخترعين من خلال الجمعيات العلمية التي تهتم الهيئة بتنشيط أدوارها ودعمها الدعم الكامل. كذلك تشجيع المبتكرين من خلال إدارة دعم البحوث التي تهتم بتمويل البحوث للشباب والأساتذة أعضاء التدريس بالجامعات. كذلك في من خلال المراكز البحثية الموجودة بالهيئة التي هي حوالي 20 مركز بحثي، نقوم بالاتصال بالجامعات لتنفيذ المشاريع البحثية ومشاريع من خلال معاملنا واختبارات الموجودة بالهيئة. حاولنا في كثير من الأوقات أن نفتح جسور تعاون مع أشقائنا في دول منطقة الشمال أفريقيا والشرق الأوسط، من خلال تواجدنا في اتحاد مجالس البحث العلمي الذي هو يتبع جامعة الدول العربية اللي يضم كافة الدول العربية. ومن خلال هذا الاتحاد الذي في إقامته في دولة السودان تم إنشاء روابط علمية خاصة ببعض التخصصات وتم تمكينها في الدول العربية. مثال ذلك رابطة النانو تكنولوجيا الموجودة في مصر ورابطة الاستشعار عن بعد موجودة في ليبيا، تشجع الشباب على هذه التقنية الجديدة وتواجدنا كذلك في المنظمة العربية للثقافة والعلوم من خلال اللجنة الدائمة للابتكار والتكنولوجيا التي تضع سياسات الابتكار والتكنولوجيا للشباب العربي. شكرا.
Following on that, I have a question for Sultan Al-Qadoumi. What is your institution doing to build the critical thinking skills of undergraduate and graduate students? And secondly, what are your priorities in increasing output of scientific research?
First of all, I would like to thank you and thank Sultan of Oman for this forum. And I would like to answer you in Arabic.
Sure, no problem.
Because the majority here is
Okay.
speaking Arabic and it's easier for them and for me also. بالحديث عن بناء وإثراء ثقافة ومهارات التفكير الإبداعي والنقدي للطلبة في مختلف البرامج، توجهت إدارة كلية الخوارزمي لعقد اتفاقيات تعاون مع منظمات دولية ومحلية لدفع الطلبة للمشاركة في عملية التفكير الإبداعي والنقدي وريادة الأعمال. ومن ثم مثال على ذلك تم مشاركة مجموعة من الطلبة، مجموعتين من الطلبة بقيادة عضو هيئة التدريس في مسابقة محلية، وحصل إحدى المجموعات على المركز الأول في على مستوى الأردن. ومن ثم سافروا إلى واشنطن دي سي للمشاركة على المستوى العالمي وحصلوا على المركز الثاني في المسابقة الدولية. هذا فيما يتعلق بالشق الأول بسؤالك عن دفع الطلب في نحو التفكير الإبداعي والنقدي. كما تم إثراء الكوريكولوم اللي هو الخطة الدراسية للطلبة بعدة مواد من ضمنها ريادة الأعمال والتفكير الإبداعي، وتم التعميم على جميع البرامج التخصصات الكلية. إضافة لذلك تم توجيه أعضاء الهيئة التدريسية نحو فكرة هدف التعليم ليس تلقين المعلومات بل تنمية التفكير الناقد، حيث أن الهدف من التعليم ليس تلقين المعلومات للطلبة بل تنمية التفكير الناقد لديهم، إذ أن التعلم يجعل الطالب محور العملية التعليمية ويحول دور الأستاذ إلى ميسر، بعدما كان محور عملية التدريس من خلال إلقاء المحاضرات على الطلبة.
Excellent. Yeah, critical thinking, developing these skills has a great impact on the overall society, which leads me to a question I have for Dr. El-Adawi. Beirut Arab University has committed itself to create a cultural and scientific environment that creates or has a strong ties with all aspects of the Lebanese society. So how does this community engagement enrich critical thinking and research?
Well, we always move our research to problems of the community. And all our research, whether for our academic staff or graduate students or junior researchers, are addressing the SDGs, which affects every part of the community. We built strong ties with the community in Lebanon, such as the Ministry of Public Health, where we have strong ties for analyzing the medicine coming to Lebanon before distribution. We have strong ties with the Public Research Council. We were allocated a number of research as well. And we help the municipalities. We have some links with them to solve certain problems facing the municipalities, whether it is an urban matter or scientific matter or climate, affecting the climate. So we are building strong links with the community, and we always provide our facilities, whether manpower or facilities, lab facilities, because our labs are well equipped. So we offer a lot of services like analysis of water, all these kind of things. So we built a good and strong link with the community, Lebanon, and we always consider all the community as partners. So this is how we can decrease the gap between the universities and research institution and the industry, because I believe in the MENA region there is a problem which faces research institutions and universities. Is that the industry doesn't believe actually in the research of the universities, and this is a big problem. Because already we are talking about funds. Funds comes from industry, not from the main sources of universities. In our part of the world, we always depend on ourselves to fund our project. But in the other parts of the world, industry believe in universities and research. So we need to tackle this problem and decrease the gap between the industry and research institution and universities.
Right, right, very much so. And maybe Professor Yusra can carry on with some of the work that she's been doing just around knowledge and technology transfer. You know that's an important feature of the work that you're doing. It would be nice to hear a little bit more on how you think this is a key activity that will further problem solving, critical thinking, and contribute to transformation, especially in the scientific research that's being done here in Muscat.
Thank you very much, Scott. And I think, it's a very area that's very close to my own heart. I'm very passionate about that link and that bridge, because I do think that's the way forward. I completely agree with you. I think it's absolutely the way forward. And I think I'd like to take, if you'll allow me, a three-pronged approach to answering that question. At a macro level, the Sultanate has been leading, in my view, in terms of bridging that gap. So we have a platform called IJAD, which is under the auspices of the Research Council, which is actually a digital platform to allow industry and academia to work together. So it's the Uber of research, if you like. It brings together industries that have a real-life challenge or problem, and academic institutions, either individually or collaboratively, bid to address that challenge. So it's actually an excellent model. It's very new. We've been involved in a number of those projects, but it is an amazing way of making a space where those institutions can work together. So that's an excellent example of how we can bridge it quite easily, actually, not easily, but in a sense through using technology to help us drive that forward. So that's at a macro level and at a country level. In terms of what we're doing in the university, We're working on what is known as the KTP model, the Knowledge Transfer Partnership model. So I can give you an example of a current project that's ongoing at the moment. We have a project with PDO, the major oil company in Oman, where one of our academics spends 1 day a week with the company to help them use machine learning, based on her own research, use machine learning to help in decision making and early diagnostic tests and decisions on whether to explore or not. Now, the obvious benefits of that are time and financial. But it's that transfer of knowledge from academia into industry and the resulting feedback into teaching, the triple helix of teaching, research, and consultancy, and closing that loop that is really very important for us. And it's something that we want to drive forward because it helps with critical thinking, it helps with publications, it helps with impact. And I take us all back to the three words that I thought were very important that Her Excellency, the Minister, raised yesterday in terms of rigor, relevance, and impact driving research. The final point to that is something we're working with the Ministry on in terms of delivering professional doctorates. Rather than the traditional PhD, we're looking to start delivering DBAs as a way of, again, bridging that gap between theory and practice. As you said, we've had a lot of theory. I'm a PhD holder myself. I have to be very careful. But, we have a lot of theoretical research. And I think the world is going at such a pace. I was amazed by the statistics shared earlier about how quickly the world has developed over the last 25 years. And therefore, the luxury of theoretical blue sky research, I think, is beyond us. It's not something that we have time for in this part of the world. If we are genuine in our wish and our aspirations to catch up, we need to be doing research that makes an impact, that industry values and is willing to pay for, because that's what makes a difference. It has to be win-win. It can't be, I'm doing research to get a promotion. So those are the three ways that come to mind, at least now, to really bridge that gap in terms of knowledge transfer.
Right. I'd actually like to explore what you mentioned about bridging academia to industry just a little bit further by directing a question to Sultan Al-Qadoumi. In your view, what are the research priorities in Jordan that have the potential to create specific clusters in which you have an advantage and therefore contribute to transforming the Jordanian economy?
الإجابة على هذا السؤال يتعلق الأمر بوزارة التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي أكثر من يتعلق بكلية الخوارزمي، ولكن من وجهة نظرنا أن الحكومة اتخذت سياسات عدة في هذا الجانب وقامت بإنشاء عدة حاضنات أعمال في مختلف مناطق المملكة وعددها 80 حاضنة أعمال، وتسعى إلى توزيعها على عدة أو على جميع مناطق ومحافظات المملكة. كما اتخذت إجراءات عديدة لتشجيع المبتكرين والرياديين والمخترعين الأردنيين لتقدم لنيل الدعم من صندوق دعم البحث العلمي التابع لوزارة التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي الأردنية، كما قامت بالتوجه نحو التشبيك مع قطاع الصناعة ودعم البحث العلمي بوضع مخصصات للبحث العلمي ودراستها بصورة معمقة والتعميم على الجامعات الأردنية لضرورة إنشاء مراكز البحث العلمي داخل الجامعات للاستفادة من هذا الدعم.
Okay, great. And interested to just hear from Professor Faisal Mohammed on just this topic just around in your country having so many of the researchers with limited access to knowledge and information and updated data as being some major challenges facing the researchers in Libya. So how can the General Authority for Research, Science, and Technology in Libya solve this challenge for the young researchers so that they can propose their solutions to your own local communities?
الحقيقة الهيئة قامت بإنشاء المرصد الليبي لمؤشرات التكنولوجيا والابتكار لوضع كافة المعلومات الموجودة بالجامعات من خلال وضع منصة خاصة بكافة المعدات البحثية اللي موجودة في الجامعات، كذلك التخصصات بالنسبة للموجودة في الجامعات والمراكز البحثية. من خلال الوزارة تم الإعلان على إنشاء مكتبة إلكترونية لكافة نور النشر، وستوزع بالكامل على الجامعات والمراكز البحثية. الهيئة لها وجود من خلال إنشاء منصة خاصة بالمجلات المحكمة الليبية، وكذلك توفير بعض المعلومات من خلال أيضا ترابطنا مع كثير من الدول. نذكر منها طبعا وجودنا في 5+5 للفضاء 5+5. تم من خلال أكثر من أكشنز تنفيذ وربط الباحثين الليبيين بنظرائهم بالدول الثانية، مثلا بالدول العربية في تونس والجزائر والمغرب وموريتانيا، والدول الأوروبية من خلال إيطاليا وفرنسا ومالطا وإسبانيا والبرتغال. هذا بالنسبة لربط الباحثين. كذلك لدينا اتفاقيات مع بعض الدول الأوروبية في تبادل المعلومات، من خلال نذكر منها المنظمة النمساوية للعلوم التي من خلالها نستطيع الحصول على كثير من المعلومات الخاصة بالباحثين مجرد أنهم يطلبوها. الشيء الثالث اللي هو طبعا ربط المراكز البحثية الموجودة بالهيئة بالجامعات والكليات التقنية، وإنشاء رابطة قوية جدا جدا من خلال وزارة التعليم، ومن خلال أعضاء التدريس في الجامعات والمراكز البحثية. المراكز البحثية يقوموا بتدريس في الجامعات لما يكون عندهم أوقات فراغ في المراكز البحثية. شكرا.
Great. And we're nearing the end of the time, so I have a last question that I'd like to hear from each of you, including Professor Jarrah as well. What policies, and we'll start here, what policies or programs does your organization offer to support young people and women and for building international cooperation? What policies or types of programs does your institution or organization offer to support young people and women and for building international cooperation?
We have a program for student exchange and academic staff exchange as well. So quite a good number of our graduate students and academic staff and undergraduate, they can join some universities and stay and study some courses there, and they come back and it's equivalent to some of our courses. And the other way around, we receive students and the staff from abroad, and they stay with us for some time. This encourages exchange of students. And at the same time, at our university, we have diversity of academic staff from different cultures, from different countries, which really have a good impact on the exchange or the mutual benefit between different universities in the Middle East and Europe as well. So we encourage to have, like I mentioned before, we have young researchers. We encourage them. We let them publish in our journals, and they publish in international journals as well. And we have in our budget, we allocated a good amount of money towards research. Like I mentioned, one of our main strategies is research excellence. And we have several Center for Excellence as well. However, our strategy 2013-2020 is going to end next year, and we are establishing a new strategy which will address different approaches. We called it Building the Future. Building the future towards the fourth industrial revolution, where the research will be have a big emphasis in this new strategy will be for the next 5 years.
There are multiple ways that you can encourage students to take part in be part of an international setting, if you like. As I said, we have 2 partnerships with UK universities, Aston University for the undergraduate and Cranfield for the postgraduate. So by default, that's exposure to an international setting, international faculty. We're very keen to attract international students, more so because we seriously believe that enriches student experience. But I think the strongest, and I guess the thing we're most proud of, is we're the first university in the Sultanate to have a whole year placement. So our students spend the 3rd year in industry, and they're encouraged to take up placements across the world, not necessarily just in Oman. And that is a realization from us that we can't teach them everything within the 4 walls of a university. We have to let them go out a little and really experience the world and come back and reflect and critique their own learning. So it's all about ownership of their learning rather than us lead. I was welcoming the next cohort of MSc students yesterday after I left here, and that was my message to them. We are here we can only create so many platforms, but I think it is about raising awareness with this next generation that the learning is for them to lead. They have to take ownership of it. We are here to facilitate their learning. So we create lots of opportunities, both local and international, but we are really keen to shift the mindset so that it is about their ownership of their own journey.
There is a big need to understand what's the period needs right now. First, we need to go for encouraging students to make clusters and hubs and to join it and to work on it before they go for globally. So we need to get them involved in workshops, knowing about how to be innovators, how to be entrepreneur, how to be doing more projects. So when they go out for the outside our international society, working with their colleagues or other students in other universities from other countries. So that's how they're gonna be innovators.
في الهيئة نحن نقوم بدورين. الدور الأول هو بحث الباحثين لاستكمال درجات الماجستير والدكتوراه من خلال وزارة التعليم لبعض الدول الشقيقة والصديقة. نقوم بذلك من خلال إدارة البعثات في وزارة التعليم. كذلك يوجد في الهيئة إدارة خاصة بالتدريب التي تقوم بتدريب الباحثين في التخصصات المطلوبة. وتم توقيع بعض الاتفاقيات على ضمنها كانت اتفاقية مع المركز الملكي الجغرافي الأردني في تنظيم بعض الدورات لباحثين في مركز استشعار البعد وابحاث الفضاء. بالنسبة لسياسة البعاث تقوم بها الوزارة، هي اللي تحدد سياساتها وهي اللي تحدد الأماكن، بالإضافة إلى وجود بعض تبادل الكراسي بين بعض الدول مثل إيطاليا وتونس وبعض الدول العربية. هذه هي الفرصة الوحيدة للباحثين لتشجيعهم على استكمال الدراسات العليا في مجال التخصص.
I would like to add that we are in Khawarizmi University Technical College. We established the department for innovators in the college for the students, and we call it the Invactory, and that was the idea of the executive manager, Sultan Al-Qadoumi, which she's here sitting with us today, and I would like to thank her a lot for her efforts in that.
Professor Jarrah?
Yes, thank you. Before I joined the Arab Open University, I was the president of Jordan University of Science and Technology. We have adopted a transformation program called Just for Eyes. And to answer this question, I will answer through this transformation program. The first eye was for the innovation. So we created an innovation center. And in this center, we conducted several workshops for our students, trained them on how to be innovators. We introduced a general course, university equivalent course for innovation, and to build the future leaders. Also, the second eye is the internationalization, where we encourage our students and faculty to join the international research networks. And among that, basically the student mobility, we motivate and increase the student mobility by more than 400% to EU, to different countries. Also, we have engaged with several institutions in the region and worldwide, like in conducting joint research. And we created what we call the summer research program. We encourage our faculty and sponsor them to go and spend their summer conducting research in research organization in the region as well as worldwide. And the fourth eye is basically the interdisciplinary. Basically, we motivate our student and our faculty to engage in multidisciplinary research. Thank you.
Right. And unfortunately, we're just about out of time. I'd like to thank each of you for sharing your experiences with all of us here, and hopefully it'll spark further discussion following the panel for the rest of the conference. So thank you very much for that. In closing, I'd like to just take a moment to say a few words about our company, Matific, just followed by a short video. Matific is a digital mathematics resource for primary schools, basic education teachers and students. The program is a collection of thousands of adaptive game-based mathematics activities that really teach the students problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills. So kind of what we were speaking about earlier, we're starting at a very young age. So by the time they get to you, they've developed a firm understanding of all those skills. But it's all being done through self-discovery and, again, in the context of early years mathematics. Matific's already curriculum aligned in over 50 countries, and the program is available and being used in over 35 different languages and counting. We've got 5 more languages that we're working on right now. The program is accessible on any device. It works offline as well. And one of the things that we're really proud of is we've had independent academic research from university professors in a few different countries who have used Matific in some of their studies to test the effectiveness of a program like this to improve critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and while also raising numeracy, literacy also. One of the things that we're also very proud of is that in that research, Matific has actually been shown to significantly reduce the anxiety levels that students have when it comes to mathematics. And it's not just with the students where we're reducing mathematics anxiety, but also amongst some of the teachers and also with some of the parents who are helping their children with their math homework. So I'll end it with that, and then if we can please play the video.
This is Miss Watson, She's been teaching at Weston Heights School for 9 years, and she loves it. But there's one time of day that Miss Watson finds difficult, and she's not alone. Many students associate maths with boredom, confusion, and in some cases, significant anxiety about even giving it a go. We as educators can empower our students by embracing forward thinking and innovative new ways of learning. Matific is an internationally award-winning digital resource that has been proven to increase student test scores by 34% and markedly reduce maths anxiety. When Matific is incorporated into classrooms, mathematical exploration and problem solving is encouraged in a fun and playful way, and as a result, students don't even realize they're learning. Matific uses highly interactive and adaptive episodes to encourage a deeper level of conceptual understanding. Students don't simply learn what the answer to the problem is, but instead spend time learning how to get there. Best of all, Matific can be used at school and at home as homework. Matific is exciting for students and a simple time-saving resource for teachers. It's the perfect mathematical teaching and learning resource. We would love to help you empower your students this year with Matific. Visit www.matific.com to start your trial today.